Don't be surprised if the off-cut is having dished out by Simmons here. He'll rely a lot on that in this 19th over. Slow off-cutters, change-ups. Yeah, just take the pace off the ball.
I think Podell's he's a little nervous about the short side of the ground. It's only around 57 meters away to the right-hander's leg side, and that might be the reason why he's hooked Zafar, in that the feeling is that it's just a miss hit towards that mid-wicket boundary. But if he does bowl the final over, well, it's a fairly long hit against the spin. I know Durgesh has got one, he's got a couple of overs under his belt that he can bowl. I'm not sure Bibek will bowl. So the decision is whether it will be seam or spin to bowl that last over.
Yeah, just overcompensating there. And as a captain, it's so important to read and pick conditions and situations and use your best men for the available resources that you have, HD.
Yes, and it's brave to bowl spin. I understand that. Very brave. Very seldom do you see teams bowl a spinner for the last 2 overs of a T20 contest.
He's got plenty of willow on this one. It's the sound of leather hitting willow that convinces everybody that that's a home run. That's a very fine strike. Kansakar playing a cameo over here, and it's turning out to be a very good one at this stage of the game for the Bulls.
If your eyes were closed when this ball was delivered, I promise you, you knew the result. That was like a gunshot.
That went a long way back. He picked the length, picked the pace, picked the slow one very early. Getting too predictable here is Simmons. Already 8 runs in the 2 deliveries. It's a game about momentum. It's a game about fractions. This one's wrapped on the pads, but that's outside the line, a little high as well maybe. But this was a quicker delivery.
And very difficult in the 19th over for a left armer to trap a right-hander LBW. Because there's no swing on offer, and more often than not it pitches outside the leg stump, and if it does pitch in line, more than likely missing off stump.
That's more like it. Keep it simple. But otherwise, it's been a good partnership. 20 of 20 at a time when wickets fell in a heap in the middle. Everything from here on will just add to that tally.
Need bat on ball. Dot balls is not the thing you're after right now. Don't swing aimlessly. There are areas of the ground that can be targeted. That short side away to the leg.
Firmly struck. Get a single. He's looked good in the short stay of his Kansakar.
Been a vital innings. Yes, run a ball, 21 of 21, but they would have got bowled out if he hadn't played this innings. Now they would be very disappointed if they didn't walk away with 140 plus. Now there's just 7 balls remaining, but surely 140 plus is on the cards.
And the surface is certainly asking some questions when a spinner is in operation. Yeah, gets an inside edge. 4 more. 13 runs of over number 19. It's been a good one. Some good shots, a bit of luck as well, but they all count. It's 135 for 7. We are into the final over.
So now the last over comes up of the leads.
What an over, the 19th one for the Bolts. On the back foot in the middle stages of this innings of theirs, but they've come back well to get an important and crucial partnership for the 8th wicket 25 runs as Zafar comes on to bowl the final over of this innings. And actually, as you rightly pointed out, it's about the angles that's playing on the mind of the captain at the moment that has prompted him to use him from the com box end and not the far end where he extracted more turn.
I said to you, it's a brave decision to bowl a spinner in either of the last 2 overs. And Rohit Podell here has done a great thing, I believe. He said to Zafar, I'm going to bowl you from the commentary box end because it's a longer hit for the right-handers to their leg side. But you just got to get the ball in the right area.
2 dots.
If he gets it too full, Kansakar will swing down the ground or toward the leg side. If anything, he wants to be slightly shorter, not too full.
Nicely bowled. But they're coming back for the second, sent back. And they'll have to settle for 1. Good fielding.
Think of Rashbanji, think of Mosan.
And I'll tell you what, they all in the dugout will be seeing this and really feeling very good about it, because this chase is going to get interesting now. You miss, I hit. This time with the arm playing across the line, Dhami departs. And the ploy of having Zafar in the final over has worked.
Lovely bit of bowling. But the captain needs to be commended. The bravery to bowl the left arm spin in the final over. It's a gutsy play, it's the right play, and it's working a treat here for the Lions.
Another good outing for Zafar with the ball. He's got 2. Dhami has to depart for 9. 8th wicket gone here for the Bolts. They're 136 on the board. Right into the final delivery. He's bowled well, Zafar. And this has been a good bowling effort by the Lions. This after they won the toss. Yeah, this will be another wicket. It's going to be a run out. They've done exceedingly well, the Lions bowling first. And this first innings finishes for Jankpur Bolts, with the batters accumulating 136 runs for 9 wickets in their 20 overs. And what a final over it's been. Just the 1 run and 2 wickets coming off it. Captain Podell has got everything right this morning, right from the toss.
A peculiar stroke for the final delivery of an innings. Just a little backward defence, back to the bowler. And that's the final wicket. But definitely an innings of 2 halves. The first 10 overs belonging to the Bolts, the second 10 emphatically belonging to the Lions, and in particular their spinners.
Yeah, it's in the middle overs that the Bolts received a couple of jolts, because it was the spinners making merry on the surface that was helping a lot of turn. They go back to the dugout a lot more confident, the momentum on their side, a feel-good factor as well creeping into the dugout for what has been a very fine bowling effort. Yeah, it was a good start. Anil Kumar Saha once again showing that he's one of the form batters in the tournament. Asif missed out, but Lahiru and Anil at the halfway stage had taken Jankpur to a position of strength. And after that, everything fell apart for the Jankpur Bolts. Shubh Kansakar played a gem of an innings, 22 of 24 to take them close to 140. But by the end of it, Lumbini Lions had come back into this game and had taken complete control of it.
Really good at the top. Anil and Asif continue their good opening stand with another partnership of 48, and then Malanta, who's been in such good form, joined Anil for a partnership of 47, and then it just fell away. as the Lions realized that this pitch was going to take excessive turn and the spinners started to dominate.
Well, they were batting first for the very first time here, the Jankpur Bulls, but the Lumbini Lions, the Pacers did go for some runs, but the manner in which the spinners pulled things off. Debutant Abhishesh Gautam went for 13 runs in his first over, but came back to finish with figures of 3 for 20 in his 4. He's been the pick of the bowlers. 2 for 11 for Saad Zafar, bowled the final over to get a wicket and give only 1 run. And then you had Rohit Paudel in the middle overs taking 2 for 22, ably supported by Sandeep Johra. It's been a lovely day out here for the Lions this morning, particularly the spinners.
The wrong end of the toss, the Bolts, and they were inserted, but they got off to a good start, a fortunate start. And then Asif and Anil found their stride. Some delightful strokes down the ground. Both look very fine players. And then spin was introduced. Asif the first to go for 16 of just 10 deliveries. Good partnership between Anil now and Malanta. Long side out there towards that leg side, well over 65 meters, whereas the other is just 57 meters. Still on top here, the Bolts. But after the dismissal of Malanta, it was all the Lions.
Yeah, this is where the game turned on its head. Harsh Thakur playing a loose shot. And then this was absolute pandemonium in the middle. Jimmy Neesham throwing it away. And then a couple of horrendous shot making in the middle as Rohit Paudel came and struck twice in 1 over to just take complete control of proceedings. It was left to Kansakar to get the impetus towards the back end, and they did get lucky as well by the end of it as they got past 130, and then Zafar bowled a superb last over to get a wicket and give only 1 run and take another wicket of a run out as well. So as many as 2 wickets in the final over to reduce the Jankpur Bulls to 136 for 9 in their 20 overs. The Lions need to believe this is within their grasp, and they'll certainly want to do so because they are languishing at the bottom of the points table. And look at that passage of play between 16 to 20, 26 runs and 4 wickets. So the 2 passages of play between 7 to 15 and 16 to 20 belong to the Lions, as the Bulls look very good up front and responded very early when put into bat, but then threw it away with some very odd shots in the middle. 136 for 9 after 20 overs, and this means that the Lions now would want to believe that this match is theirs. They need a good partnership, they need a win here to stay alive in the competition. They'll need 137 in 20 overs. An exciting chase coming up on the other side of a short break. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere.
दबंग दिल्ली से पिछले मुकाबले में मिली कांटे की टक्कर में हार। तेलुगु टाइटंस अब तैयार हैं करने उन पर पलटवार। प्रो कबड्डी लीग फाइट फॉर प्लेऑफ्स। दबंग दिल्ली KC वर्सेस तेलुगु टाइटंस 12th December at 7:30 p.m.
This broadcast is brought to you in association with Dream 11 and Shriram Finance in partnership with HP Lubricants, Roff, Mother Dairy माँ जैसी and Red Bull.
जब विरोधी हो टफ और परीक्षा हो कठोर तो करो जरा गौर। अगर टफेस्ट राइवल के सामने जीतना हो तो टुक टुक नहीं ठोक ठोक के जीतो।
टफेस्ट राइवलरी में ऋषभ पंती तो बनती है। Australia versus India, 3rd test, 14th December at 5:20 a.m.
This broadcast is co-presented by Aditya Birla Group, a force for good, Nexa and Birla Opus Paints in association with C8, Pan Bahar and Amazon.in, India की अपनी दुकान।
Football's biggest league gets unleashed on the biggest screen. Presented Select Screenings PL.
The hat-trick.
Where mesmerizing action gets unraveled with the theatre aura. So, enjoy the unlimited passion of Premier League blockbuster style. Watch Manchester City versus Manchester United on 15th December, Sunday 10 p.m. Select Screenings PM at your nearest PVR Inox theatres.
Amul Premier League Live is presented by Amul, the taste of India, in association with Nomad Pizza. Make my trip and life में grow करो।
फाइट फॉर प्लेऑफ्स में सांसों की जंग होगी और तगड़ी।
Teams at the peak of their powers.
टॉप 6 में पहुंचने के लिए हर टीम यहां पर है अड़ी।
Do or die now.
हर मैच का हर पॉइंट होगा ऐसा जैसे डू और डाई।
Game on! The clock's running down.
प्रो कबड्डी लीग Fight for Playoffs. Who will survive? 9th December onwards. Only on the Star Sports Network and Disney Plus Hotstar.
This broadcast is brought to you in association with Dream 11 and Shriram Finance in partnership with HP Lubricants, Roff, Mother Dairy Ma Jaisi and Red Bull.
No teams that you can take lightly.
Game day number 8, it's match 14. Joint top of the table, Jankpur Bolts against the bottom of the table, Lumbini Lions. We're live from the TU. Well, we've seen a couple of changes. Young Tul Bahadur Thapa missed out for the Bolts, and there was 3 changes for the Lions. Shermala came in, he could only manage a second ball duck, and there was an absolute collapse, wasn't there? They're in cruise control at 95 for 1. And about 40 minutes later, they were 136 for 9 after their 20 overs. And one of the changes for the Lions was this man, Abhishesh, category C in the draft from Lumbini in his early 20s. He came in, big surprise for the man who's played for the national team, for Surya Tamang, who I don't think's bowled badly, but look at the big wickets he got, including Jimmy Neesham. It turned very sharply, and despite that wonderful platform that they had, it was the man in his early 20s, Abhishesh Gautam, who was the star of the show. 14 dots, 3 for 20, and 2 apiece for Sad bin Safar and Rohit Paudel. It means that the Lumbini Lions, to take their first win, and indeed for the neutral fans there of this MPL, really make the points table all the more intriguing. They will need 137 to win, but do not rule out this Jankpur Bolt side. They've got maybe the most balanced bowling attack in the entire tournament, and they have plenty of spin options with which Anil Shah can turn to. And if you imagine what we saw in that first innings when the pitch was still a little damp, you'd imagine it may continue to turn. So we might just see a little burst up at the top from the seamers before quite a diet of spin. You'd imagine Lalit Rajbanshi may well open the bowling as well, in tandem with the seamers. So who's it going to be? It's the bespectacled Ashutosh Goyria, who missed out in the last game, but he's been brought back in today. One of those 3 changes. Very talented player. Did have that Nepal exposure earlier in the year. Let's open the batting with him, someone who is, well, desperately shy of runs, just 17 in his 3 matches so far. He was in the squads for Nepal in both USA and in Canada. Only played a couple of games, but he hasn't been able to show any of his form yet. He'll be at the non-strikers end. Opening the bowling, we'll see the pace of Kishore Mahato, who's, well, very much been somebody that everyone is pleased to see back in Nepal, playing his grade cricket down in Australia. He's desperate to get going, aren't we all? 4 wickets already. Keep your eyes on him. He'll start from the Chobar end of the ground. We're all set for the chase. 137 to win. A bit of movement in as I welcome Manali Patel to the commentary box alongside me. Manali, good morning to you. Chillier today. What do you make of this chase? Who's it going to be?
Good morning, Lily. Yeah, it is going to be an interesting game. A bit chilly as well this morning, but I just feel like the Bolts have been so strong in this tournament so far, and they've been good with bat and ball. I feel like their bowlers might just have it in them to defend this low total.
Maybe a bit of deja vu to yesterday afternoon's game in terms of the way that the Bratnagar Kings couldn't get over the line. They only needed 131.
Yeah, and we tend to see that, don't we, with low-scoring affairs. You think that you've got all the time in the world because there aren't a lot of runs on the board, and then you start to lose wickets, a few dot balls here and there, thinking you have time to afford, and then you get yourself into very tricky positions. The Lions have struggled with bat and ball. They picked up wickets today. They've done decently well with the ball. And now it's their job to try and finish this off with the bat. The bat has seen some flourishes from the skipper, Roy Podell, Tom Moores, but really there's been nothing much else in that batting lineup.
Yeah, they do have those finishing heroics of Bibek Yadav. I know it was in a losing cause, so it was almost a bit overshadowed, wasn't it? But 77 not out, 7 sixes. If they get behind the rate, he's there to maybe apply the finishing touches, but you're spot on. It may all be about Rohit Powdell yet again. He's right up there in the run-scoring charts for a reason. I thought he captained that first innings outstandingly well. He was brave. He rotated his bowlers, and once he saw the back of Malantha in particular, they just fell away like a pack of cards collapsing.
Now the Bolts being tested for the first time in tricky batting conditions. Thought that there are some holes in that batting lineup, especially against a decent bowling lineup. An inside edge, and he's going to get off the mark, Ashutosh, with a single. Get a decent chat with Pupuru Dasanayake. By decent, I mean 2 questions and 3 wickets in there.
Not sure Pupudu's going to be inviting me back, and I don't know how many drinks I owe him now back at the team hotel this evening, because everything was looking so good. I appeared on the opposite of an Irish Lucky Charm. An Irish Jonah I was for him. And they collapsed in a heap. I'm sorry, Pupudu. Please accept my apologies, sir.
But he's such a planner. Very experienced coach. Another inside edge. And we say that about him. The reason he's so successful over the years is he's got plan A, he's got plan B, and he's got plan C. He knows how to get the combinations right with his batters, his bowlers. And always in full control, calm and composed.
He's about the most humble man you'll ever meet. Is Pupuru Dasanayake, played internationally for both Sri Lanka and Canada. He's been known as the associate maestro for a reason. Such a fine coach, such a fine human. It's all about creating a culture, as this one's going to run away for 4. I think it's come off his shoulder, because we've seen a change in keeper, haven't we? Larry Malantha's had the gloves for the first 3 games. They've been given now to Asif Sheikh, and that'll be 4 byes to round out the first over. Let's hope Asif's okay. It's 6 for none.
जब विरोधी हो टफ और परीक्षा हो कठोर, तो करो जरा गौर. अगर टफेस्ट राइवल के सामने जीतना हो, तो टुक टुक नहीं, ठोक ठोक के जीतो.
टफेस्ट राइवलरी में ऋषभ पंती तो बनती है. Australia versus India, 3rd test, 14th December at 5:20 a.m.
This broadcast is co-presented by Aditya Birla Group, a force for good. Nexa and Birla Opus Paints in association with C8, Pan Bahar and Amazon.in, India ki apni dukaan.
You have left arm spinners here, and he's been at his best. Look at that average and economy rate. 7 wickets in just 4 games. Often bowling very difficult overs up at the top. Somebody works incredibly hard. Managed 2 stints in the gym this trip. Both times after 9 o'clock, he was still down there working hard on his fitness. So often beats the inside edge, but this pitch might be a bit different. Let's just get a look at this. Asif Sheikh, a change of the gloves today. Not an easy one to manage.
Oh, he really took that flush. Went down, got a bit of an extra bounce. And right off the shoulder. That might have a bruise the next day. You mentioned the fitness. I mean, that's been one of the most impressive things for me. Even when they were in Canada, this Nepal side. Missing the outside edge again. He looks really uncomfortable out there.
We're only in the second over the chase. You already see why this is not going to be a formality. You think they're ahead, the Lions, at the halfway stage. Of course you do. With 1:36 on the board. But this could be a scrap. And that required run rate. Okay, right now it's just a fraction over 7 per over. That could spiral. Because Reg Banshee's going to be economical. Mohamed Mohsen, he has been the most frugal bowler in the tournament. The leg spinner, I've been so impressed by him. Now, how is this missed? The end result in the scorebook is probably going to be a couple of byes, but it easily could have been the first wicket. Nobody got anything on it. And Asif Sheikh has started like the ball is a hot cake. He can't get anything on it.
This one has turned. And it surprised absolutely everyone. Batter, keeper. In fact, the fielders they've done really well to stop it from going for a boundary.
And over the head to the shorter side. Definitely intentionally played over the heads of those fielders, and that's going to be the first Super 4 powered by Ncell 4G. It's 12 for none.
Lumbini Lions 2 ओवर पश्चात 12 रन बिना कुनै क्षतिमा जीतका निमित्त लक्ष्य 127 रन निर्धारित 20 ओभरमा।
Not quite the same scale of crowd as we saw yesterday, understandably. It's the first day of the working week as Arjun Said goes through the covers for what will probably be a couple. They'll think of 3 because it's the larger side. They won't go for it. Maybe the right call. Anil Saz, the one putting in the hard yards out there, the skipper.
It was driven well. But we are using one of the furthest tracks away from that offside boundary. Typically the outfield gets a bit quicker as the day progresses, a little bit slower in the morning.
Mahato was so good last year in that Cricket World Cup qualifier, particularly against Ireland. And within touching distance of a first win over a full member. Now Manali, this is the first year of this Nepal Premier League, and players were selected through a draft. 3 of those players were late additions to the draft at the request of the franchises. This man, Lumbini Lions, said, we've seen him in local cricket. We want him into the draft. They drafted him as a Category C player. He's come in to replace a national team player who played against Canada earlier in the year. And what a call. I know Pupulu Dasanayake won't have been happy with some of the batting efforts there. But what a call from Nandan Fadnis to get him into the team, replace Surya Tamang. And then respond with 3 wickets. Another great story. There's been so many narratives, hasn't there? We've seen the 16-year-old star getting out Martin Guptill yesterday. I'll tell you one thing, the depth of left-arm spin bowling here, it's almost ludicrous, isn't it, in Nepal?
Letty, according to your knowledge, how many players do you think are in and about that age group where they're contenders for coming to the high performance setup here.
Let's just talk about the left arm spinners first. Could be as many as 15 left arm spinners genuinely within a couple of good